Hello guys, and welcome back to another tutorial. So on today's video we're going to be doing the sewing part of this top. If you missed the last video where we went over the drafting part, do check it out. I'm going to be leaving it in the description bar below so you can go check it out. So let's get right into the video. So this is the fabric. I went ahead to cut out the lining piece as well for the front as well as the back piece. So this is what it's looking like. So we're going to start sewing now, and we're going to set this aside to work on the yoke part. Now I'm going to open this up, and you can see that there's two pieces here. We're going to place them right side facing each other, and we're going to sew along the line here and as well as this part here. And we're going to do the same thing for this one here. So we're going to go ahead to sew this. After sewing this, we're going to give it a good press and set this aside. Now we're going to be working on the front bodice, and you can see that I went ahead to transfer my dart lines onto the fabric. So this is what it's looking like. We're going to go ahead to sew the front part of the dress. You can see that I went ahead to transfer the dart on both sides. So we're going to go ahead to take this to the machine, holding this like so, and then we're going to go ahead to sew it. So after sewing the darts, you should have something that looks like this. So this is the lining piece that I went ahead to sew. This is what it's looking like, and this is what your main piece should look like. So we're going to go ahead to do the same thing for the main fabric piece, the same way we did for the lining piece. And we're doing this way because we do not want the sewing line of the darts to show on the outside of the top. So we want everything to be on the inside, and that's why we're doing it this way. So we're going to go ahead to sew this, and we're also going to do the same thing for the back piece as well. We're going to transfer the dart lines and then go ahead to sew the dart for the back pieces as well. And when we're done sewing this, we're going to give everything a good press. So guys, after we're done giving everything a good press, this is what all our fabric pieces are looking like. And you can see how neatly ironed the darts are looking like. So guys, we're now going to work on this piece here. We're going to set this one aside to focus on this piece here. So on this top part here, we went ahead to add 2-inch extra at this point here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead to pleat this. So I'm just putting my tape here to mark this to know where I'm going to start my pleating. So I'm going to go ahead to mark it on both sides. After marking that, we're going to pleat from this point here. You can see how I am illustrating this to you. And we're just going to create 3 pleats on both sides. So this is what you should have when you're done with your pleats. I'm going to go ahead to take this to the machine to create my pleats, and I'm also going to do the same thing for my lining pieces as well. So guys, after we're done creating the pleats, this is what it's looking like here. So you can see what our pleat is looking like. I'm going to go ahead to bring in my lining piece as well. So this is what our lining piece is looking like as well. We also went ahead to do the same thing we did for the main fabric piece to the lining piece as well. So this is what they are looking like. So guys, what we're going to do next is we're going to hold our lining piece and our main fabric piece together, right sides facing each other, and we're going to go ahead to sew along the bottom part. But take note that we're not going to be sewing along this slit line here. We're just going to sew the bottom part alone. So I went ahead to sew the bottom part, and then I pinned down the slit part, as you can see, just so we can fix our yoke before we continue. So I'm just going to go ahead to place my yoke where I want it to be, and you can see that I left out 1/2 inch at this side here. This is going to be for our sleeve when we are about to fix our sleeve, and that is why I left out that 1/2 inch there. So we are going to go ahead to pin down our yoke onto the bodies, onto the main bodies of the dress. So I'm going to go ahead to pin this down, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the other side of the yoke as well. After pinning this down, we're going to go ahead to sew on this part here by 1/2 inch on both sides. So after sewing on the yoke, I went ahead to close up this part here, as you can see, with the lining. So now I'm going to go ahead to trim off the excess we have at this part here. After that, we're going to go ahead to now sew up the slit area here. We're going to sew it like this all the way up, and then we're going to take it all the way down, and then you can slit open the lining part we have there that we did not slit open earlier. So this is what it's looking like. I'm going to go ahead to slit it open. So this is what our front piece is looking like so far. Now I'm just going to go ahead to notch this upper part just so everything stays at ease and everything is laying well basically. And when we're going to iron it, we won't have any issue with the ironing process. So I'm going to go ahead to flip this over to the right side and take it to the ironing board to give everything a good press. So now we're going to set this aside and work on the back piece. So this is our back piece. We're going to lay this down, right sides facing each other, and we're basically doing the same thing we did for the front piece for the back. So now we're going to sew this part here by 1/2 inch, and then we're going to top stitch after sewing. So I'm going to do that and come back to show you what it looks like. So this is what it's looking like after we're done top stitching on this part here. You can see what it is looking like. Now what we're going to do is we're going to flip this over to the wrong side, and now the right sides are facing each other. This is the wrong side of the fabric, and we're going to lay this down, making sure they are aligning properly the way you see them right now. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to sew along the sides like this, and then we're going to sew along the side as well. So I'm going to do the same thing for the two back piece and come back to show you what we have. So this is what it's looking like after we're done sewing. I did the same thing for the other piece. Now we're just going to flip this over to the right side, and you should have something that looks like this. This is the other part I went ahead to turn to the right side and give it a good press, so you can see what it's looking like. Now to start joining the back and front together, I'm going to bring in my front piece. So this is what our front piece is looking like so far. And do not forget that this top part here is going to be twisted like so. So take note of that. Now we're going to go ahead to start joining. I'm going to go ahead to bring in my back piece. So for the back piece, go ahead and fix in your invisible zipper. We went ahead to do that already. And now we're going to start joining this. I'm going to go ahead to place my front piece on the back piece, right sides facing each other like so, making sure everything is aligning properly together. And we're going to fix in our shoulder, the shoulder joining. You understand what I mean. So I'm going to twist this like so, and then we're going to go ahead to fix it the way we would normally join our shoulders together. So you can choose to twist this twice or just once, but I would advise you twist it twice before you start joining. So I've gone ahead to twist this like so, holding it very firmly, and we're going to just place this down on our back piece like this. Then we're going to bring in the lining piece of the back to the front. So the front piece is going to be sandwiched in between our back piece main fabric and lining piece. I hope you understand what I'm explaining. So I'm going to go ahead to just pin this down so it is going to enable us take this to the machine to sew. I'm going to go ahead to pin it down. So I'm going to illustrate this again with this part just so you understand. Now we're going to hold this, we're going to twist it twice. You can see here that I did it just once, but you have to do it twice. And then you're going to hold it in between the main fabric of the back piece and the lining fabric. You're going to sandwich it in the middle, and then you're going to sew by 1/2 inch. Make sure you pin this down so you do not find it difficult when joining this. So we're going to take this to the machine to sew. After sewing, you should have something that looks like this. This is the result of the joining process. Next, I'm going to go ahead to just put in my body measurement and join it at the sides. So we're going to go ahead to just join this at the sides. So one thing you're also going to need for this top is cover buttons. So these are the cover buttons. I went ahead to take this to the market to fix, and they come in different sizes, and this is what it's looking like. So this is going to be for the placement at the top here as well as the bottom part. So we're going to just set this aside, and we're also going to tack this part down because I noticed after fixing it that it tends to move, as you can see. So we're going to go ahead to just take our needle and thread to tack this down, making sure that the thread is not showing. So you're going to try as much as possible to do this in a way that your thread is not visible after fixing this down. So I'm going to go ahead to just tack this in place, and I'll be doing this for the both sides. After tacking the twist at the shoulders here, you can see that it's a lot more firm now. I also went ahead to fix in my cover buttons, as you can see here. So we're just going to finish up the zipper part here and then go ahead to draft out our sleeve. So the sleeve for this top is a basic long sleeve, and I went ahead to draft that out, and the only difference is the length. So I want this to be a bit longer, so I'm going to be working with 27 inches. So now we're going to go ahead to cut this out. So this is what this top is looking like after we're done fixing the sleeve. So you can see that we've not closed up this part here, and on this part here you can see the opening we are supposed to have at this part here. So when joining your sleeve, you are supposed to end here, making sure you come down towards the twist at least 1 inch, and then you stop, and then you continue to the rest part. Then this part here, all you have to do is just hem it down. You can see that I went ahead to pin this down, and I'm going to go ahead to just take my hem gum to hem it down on both sides. So we're going to just close up the sleeve here, and when we're done we should have something that looks like what we have here. So with that, we've come to the end of this tutorial. If you found this video helpful, do not forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not yet subscribed already, and leave any question you might have concerning this tutorial in the comment section below, and I will see you on the next video. Bye guys.